Welcome everyone, I'm ESL teacher Lisa. Today we're continuing our series in the book English for Everyone. If you want to follow along, you can just look at my screen share or you can get a copy on Amazon. I'll leave the link in the description. So we're on chapter 18. I do have the previous 17 chapters already recorded and some of the future chapters as I was doing this live. So we are going to cover every single chapter in this book. So let's do 18 today. The topic, speaking approximately. So if you follow along in the introduction over here, it says English has a number of useful phrases to describe approximate quantities and amounts. You can use them when a number is unknown or roughly accurate. So the new language that we'll talk about today is generalization, approximate quantity phrases, and talking about numbers. So we're going to give you some great ways to describe numbers when you want to approximate. So what are those phrases? Well, let's start with our first point. Approximate quantities. So if you have specific figures, it may be useful to give them. So if you have the data, if you have the numbers, use them. However, you may need to use more general terms if you do not have the figures or you want to avoid repetition. Sometimes at work in a business setting, we're asked to give figures and we don't have them. So instead of saying, I don't know, you can just approximate. But what are the words in English? Well, let's look at the first example. So if this is the actual data, 3 out of 15 students live off campus, but you don't know that or you don't remember that, you can say, in some cases. In some cases, students live off campus. So this word some, it's very unspecific. So of course it doesn't mean none, it doesn't mean 0 because you said some, and it doesn't mean 1 because again you use some. So it's just to let the speaker know, in some cases, some students live off campus. So that's our first phrase, in some cases. Let's look at some more examples. Further examples, you can say, if a minority is less than half, but often refers to much less than half, you're going to use in a minority of cases, or in a few cases, employers provide funding for education. Then, if we're talking about most or majority, that refers to more than half, you're going to say in most cases, or in the majority of cases, students can contact their professors online. And then we had, in some cases, we just saw an example with that, or in a number of cases, we use these when we have an unspecific reference that could mean a majority or a minority of cases. So it can go either way. We just say in a number of cases, or in some cases, students can live in dorms on campus. Let's go back to this blue tip box. So get comfortable using these two words, minority and majority, are often qualified, for example, small minority or vast majority. So what does that mean? We don't always use these words alone, minority or majority. We're saying we qualify them, meaning we like to use other words with them. So how much of a minority? We might say a small minority. So minority is already small, but when we add small minority, it's even smaller. Or you have majority, which of course majority has its own meaning, a lot. But when you say vast majority, oh wow. So we're really talking about a lot. So if I said to you, what's the difference now? If I said to you, a majority of students live off campus. But I qualified it. I said a vast majority of students live off campus. Oh wow. So that's almost everyone, a vast majority. Or a minority of students live off campus. Okay, so that's a small amount, but a small minority. So we're talking about a very small number. So we often won't use minority and majority alone. You often will see it with other words like small and vast. Let's continue. We have an audio. So you're going to listen to the audio and number the infographics in the order they are mentioned. So here are the 4 infographics. So we're going to play an audio. Which one can we match the infographic to? So for example, we did the first one for you, so listen for that. B matches with the first audio. Listen to how this infographic is described. So this can help you if you do business presentations or you have to describe data and you want more English words to use. This is a good exercise for you. So let's play that audio now, and then we'll come back to this chart. Okay, so please listen. Here we go.
In a few cases, students will need to complete assessment online. There are several accommodation options. In some cases, students like to live on campus, but an equal number of students like to live in the city in private accommodation. Please don't be worried. Only a tiny minority of people do not finish their degree. Let's talk about your employment prospects after your degree. You'll be pleased to know that the vast majority of students go on to get a job in the 3 months following graduation.
Okay, so did you get them all right? Let's take a look. Okay, let's look at B, which of course was 1, and then we have A, that should be 4. That was recording 4 for A. Chart C is recording number 2, and chart D is recording number 3. So hopefully you got them all right. Okay, let's continue on. Approximate statistics. So here, looking at the intro, you can make statistics more general by modifying them with words such as approximately, well, or just. So here we're giving you 3 more words to take note of, 3 more words, approximately. First example, approximately half of the students are from Europe. And we also gave you a little bar chart here so you can understand. Just under a third of the assessment consists of coursework. Well over 50% of the course is online. So you notice what we added? We didn't just say half the students. We said approximately half. We didn't say a third. We said just under a third. And we didn't say 50%. We said well over 50%. So do you see how this can really help when you're talking about data and statistics? It gives more meaning or more accurate meaning instead of just saying, for example, 50%. Well, it's well over 50%. Now you have a chance to work with these words. You have to cross out the incorrect word in each sentence. So what is wrong, we're going to cross off. The first one is done for you. Go ahead now and you can actually pause the video and do it yourself and then come back and see if you got it right. So the first one is done for us. We'll look at the example. We have this percentage, 52%. So thinking about that, we can say approximately half of the students are male. So it's not well over because it's 52%. We would say approximately, right? Just over the 50% mark. Okay, number 1, 97%. So what would we say? The vast majority or minority of the lecture halls have wireless internet access. What's your answer? If you chose majority, you'd be correct. The vast majority. Number 2, 27%. So is it just or well over a quarter of classes are recorded for students to listen to online? It's just over a quarter. Number 3, 85%. After 1 week, most or some people know their way around campus. Most, 85% is most. Number 4, 4%. Only a huge or tiny minority of students do not have smartphones. Only a tiny minority. We use tiny. It's very, very small because it's 4%. Remember we said minority we often don't use by itself and majority, so we'd say tiny minority. Number 3, 72%. Well over or under half of our students eat a hot meal on campus. 72% is well over half. And 67%, is it just over or under 2/3 of our professors can speak 2 languages? Well, that is just over 2/3 of our professors can speak 2 languages. So hopefully you're understanding how to use these words, especially when you don't have specific numbers or data. You can generalize by using these words. Okay, let's continue. Surprising numbers. So certain expressions are used to show that a particular number or quantity is surprising. So we do have facts and data and stats that often do surprise us. So let's talk about how we would structure our sentence. Let's look at the nice examples we have here. The first one, other universities charge as much as 100 euros for this service. So there's a little note here. It says this indicates that 100 euros is a surprisingly large amount of money because we're using this as much as. Let's look at the next one. For as little as $5 per semester, you can join the club. So as little as indicates that $5 is a surprisingly small amount of number. So when we use as much as, it's to indicate surprise for a large amount of number. When we use as little as, we're trying to emphasize the small amount of number. Let's look at the next one. There are as many as 25 free student events each month. So this indicates that 25 is a surprisingly large number of events. Again, as many as much as. Then our last one, the library is generally closed for as few as 2 days a month. So this indicates that 2 is a surprisingly small number of days, as few as. So again, if you want to communicate surprise for a large number, you can use as much as many as, but if you want to indicate surprise for a small number, or really emphasize that it's a small amount or number, as little as few as. So this is good in business. So you might be selling something and you can say, hey, you can get this product for as little as $10. Or, yes, we have it on sale for as few as, and you're trying to just emphasize that's a good deal, right? The price is good, or hurry up and buy it while it's on sale, it won't last, something like that. So you can actually use this to your advantage. Okay, let's talk about reading. Reading comprehension. It's not enough to read and pronounce. You have to understand what you're reading. And I will tell you, reading is becoming a lost art because we're used to these quick, short posts on social media, and fewer and fewer people read nowadays. Books and long articles. We want things fast and now. And so comprehension is actually dwindling. It's been shown even in school when you have these tests to assess level. It's going down. Reading comprehension has gone down. Okay, we're going to read, and it's just a true-false. So why study with us? But let's look at the first example. Just over 50% of the courses are international standard, and that is false. So we're going to see a lot of the language that we discussed, so this is a good review. So I'm going to scroll down. Let's look at the first paragraph. Here we are, academic excellence. So I'm going to read it. Follow along. We are one of the top 20 colleges in the country in terms of teaching quality, with the vast majority of our courses rated as international standard. Our undergraduates come from all over the world, attracted by our outstanding teaching and research guidance. Second paragraph. Superb facilities. We strive to ensure that you have a first-class student experience. Our excellent sports facilities are open to all and include an Olympic-sized swimming pool. For those interested in the arts, we have a successful drama department, an art gallery, and a multi-screen cinema. We have as many as 40 different sport, cultural, political, and volunteering clubs to choose from. Accommodation. In most cases, our students prefer to live on campus. In other cases, however, students may wish to live off campus. Our friendly accommodation team can also help with this. Careers. Our Career Development Center can help with your present and future career choices. Approximately half our students continue to pursue a graduate level course with us. Our dedicated team can help you make the best choice for your future. Great. We saw a lot of the phrases that we practice. Let's go right to the true false. Let's look at number 1. Undergraduates are also learn important research skills. True. That is true. Number 2, you must join a club to use the sports facilities. That's false. Number 3, you can join a club that encourages the discussion of political issues. That's true. Number 4, over 50% of the students live on campus. That's true. And number 5, the university does not provide any graduate level courses for students. That's false. How did you do? How did you do? If you missed 1 or 2, you're doing quite well. If you missed, 3 or 4 or 5, you need to practice your reading comprehension. Okay. This is our last point here. Questioning generalizations. When you need to question a generalization. Let's look at the introduction. One polite way of showing that you disagree with a generalization is to question it. Use questions like, is that so? Really? Is that right? And are you sure? Before challenging a generalization. So we often don't want to just accept statistics and data, but what can we say in English? We don't want to say, you're wrong, or you're stupid, or you're dumb, or that's retarded. We need to use proper words to show disagreement, that we're questioning something. Not necessarily disagreeing, but we're really not sure if what the person's saying is correct. Look at the great example here. So if a fellow student said this to you, I've been told that the campus is very unwelcoming and quiet. Is that so? My experience has not been like that at all. So you're disagreeing by saying, is that so? And then you can state your opinion. But it's a more polite way of doing it. You can't say, well, I didn't hear that. That's dumb. Who thinks that? Okay. So you disagree with the comment, right? And then you express yourself. We're actually not going to do the audio on this one, but I think that was a great little point. Okay, great. We are done. We talked about generalization, approximate quantity phrases, and talking about numbers. Let's look at our next chapter. We'll do this next time. Number 19, changing emphasis. See you in the next video. Again, if you want to follow along, you can purchase the book available on Amazon. You can check eBay, other sites. You can follow along or just look on my screen share. That's fine too. And please check the description for any resources that I can personally recommend or that I like. And if there's anything that you question or you have your own questions, you can put it on the chat and I'll take a look. See you, everybody. Thank you.